Hello everyone, today let us use AutoBlocks to sync to Jira issues, and I want to mention this today that if you have been following this video series on AutoBlocks, I am sure that by now you have figured out that I'm trying to show you and demonstrate to you that you can how easily you can use AutoBlocks to create integration between not just two Jira instances but Jira or any other tool. Of course, we are first starting to explore. We are starting with the Jira. We are trying to link two Jira instances, and in this video series, we have so far learned how to write a simple Hello World program. Then we learned how to get one issue. We also learned how to create an issue in another Jira instance, and then in the last video we also fetched the issue from one Jira instance and also created the same issue in another Jira instance, but we did it manually. Today I want to show you how you can do it automatically. So the moment you create an issue in one Jira instance, you can expect that same issue to be created somewhere else in another Jira instance. It could be any other tool, but of course we are first looking at how it works in Jira. Now, before I start, I just want to show you how it works, and of course I'll also share how to configure it and how to reuse the code that we wrote earlier, and how to basically create a workspace where you can listen for those events in Jira instance. Now, if you look at this particular workspace, this is the same workspace. There is a slight difference here. So if you remember from the previous video, earlier we were using this manual trigger, but now we are actually using this block called when an issue is created. Now, if you look at the block configuration, I'm basically using the same code, but if I maybe add one more, like just to show you how it works. If you open this code, you have few things like at the very top you have the event, issue created event that you can use in your code to maybe get an issue. To basically get an idea about the issue, like what is the issue key or any other fields. And using this issue created event, you can then of course take a look at the issue key or maybe all the fields that you have in the issue, which of course we will use, and of course we will then use the same summary by replacing the code that we wrote earlier. So let me just show you how it looks like. If I show you the code is exactly the same. This line is of course coming from the block that I just showed you, and instead of the earlier there was a manual trigger event, but now I'm using this issue created event, which is something that we have declared on top. But the good thing about this issue created event is that when you take a look at this event, you have issue, and you can access the issue fields and basically any other field that you want to reuse. So in this example, what I have been doing, I am basically not going to get the issue manually from my source Jira instance. So this is the code where earlier I was using this managed API called get issue, and I was passing this an-214 issue key manually, and I was basically using the source issue keys summary to do something in my issue creation when I was creating the same issue, maybe with the same summary somewhere else, maybe in my target Jira instance. So what I did, if you try to compare this particular code with the previous code, there is no difference whatsoever, except of course the summary, which I will now pick from the event.issue.fields.summary. Of course, you can retrieve any other field if you want, but of course this is a simple example. So let us see how it works, and then of course I will show you how to configure this listener kind of a thing that will listen for those events using webhooks. So if you click on if you go to the source Jira instance, let us say if you create a new project, and right now the way this works, or not a new project, sorry, new project, this button is probably because we are normally used to the button on top. Okay, so we have this plus button. So if I click on it, you can of course create a new task. And the way right now it works is, so basically you have to configure a webhook, and the webhook right now will be triggered for any will be basically looking for any issue created event. So it could be in any Jira project. So maybe I want to create the same. Maybe I want to create the issue in Android project. For example, if there is some urgent website issue, site down. Let us say your site is down, and maybe you want to send this to, maybe you want to recreate the same issue in some other tool. In our case, of course, we have one more Jira instance. So let us click on the create button. So before I click on the create button, I just want to go back to the AutoBlocks configuration. And if I go back here, so when you have, so the way it works, I'll probably show you how it works for a new workspace, but you have to click on the activate. So far we have not really looked at this option here on top called activate. And when you click on it, you will get the option here called configure your source Jira tutorial webhooks. Now you have to basically click on this, and you will get this URL, which is of course the URL that you have to use in your source Jira instance. So what I'll do, I'll click on this link, or you can go to your source Jira instance. So let us, before we can create the issue and show you how it, and take a look at how it works, we have to configure this webhook. So right now I have a couple of webhooks. One is already there, I believe, which I am not really. This is basically for AutoBlocks, last updated 19th of May, and there is one more called new webhook listener. So I'll probably take a look at the URL, and the URL is actually same, I believe, because I was actually playing with this earlier. But if you have to create a new webhook, you can click on the create webhook button here, and then of course you can copy that URL. And the main thing that you have to do is you have to specify the event, like when you want this this URL to receive that event. And what we can do is we can actually configure here the event, which is issue created. I'm looking for it. So issue created. So this is the one that you have to select, and make sure that you have filtered this for maybe a specific project, or maybe within a project, maybe you want to do it only for urgent high priority issues or whatever. So you can specify the JQ layer just to filter it down. But of course, for our case, we'll not really filter it. We'll leave it as it is. Of course, we have to specify one event. So I'll of course not create a new one. I will go back to the one that I have already in my list of webhooks. So the one that I have already configured for the same webhook, for the same URL, the webhook that I have right now is for the issue created event. So let us now create a new issue, and I'll probably close this, and let us click on done. And what I need to do is I need to, of course, so right now it says here on the left hand side activating listeners, and I will create a new issue. So urgent website issue, and of course it will create the same issue, hopefully, if it works, in our CMP board, because that is where we are creating the issues. Now there is something that I can see here on the left hand side, invocation scheduled with ID blah blah blah, and of course we have this ID which can be useful for logging, but we can hopefully see here some messages, and right now don't worry about I think I need to modify the code slightly. But if I go back, because I'm doing this console.log.event, and I'm also printing the message here, so you can obviously modify it if you want. And if I take a look at the CMP board here, so the issue that we just created, what was the summary? I forgot the summary. So let me take a look at it. So it was in the Android project, right? I didn't click on it, but let me just go to the project and take a look at the new issue. But the idea here is to create these new issues in maybe another Jira instance. So right now, of course, we have this new issue called urgent website issue side down, and of course you have the issue key. So this is something that is amazing because right now we have this automation which is going to work without any manual trigger, and the only thing that you need to do is use this when an issue is created, because when you bring this block here, when an issue is created, it will all you need to do, you have to specify the source of your I mean the application that is the source, which is of course our Jira tutorial. But you don't have to I mean, in this case it is basically source and we are trying to do something in our target, but it could be any other Jira instance. Maybe you have 5 Jira instances, so it is up to you how you want to use it. But if I want, I can now leave this workspace as it is, and it will obviously look for new issues that are getting created. Of course, we are using that unique URL that I used in the webhook, because the moment you create a new issue, you can expect this workspace to do something. And it is of course a very simple example. In the next video, what we'll do, we'll also try to link the issue, because right now of course we have this new issue, but it is not at all in any way linked to the issue that we have in our source Jira instance. And to be honest, it is not really a complicated thing, because you can link it using the application links if you have application links configured. If you don't have application links, you can always use remote links in Jira, and you can actually do all these things very easily using of course REST API. And of course we also have now managed APIs, which is great because we don't really have to worry about each and everything when it comes to understanding all the endpoints and what exactly should be the body. So managed, the idea behind managed API is that it will make your life a lot easier when you're trying to interact with tools like Jira, when you are trying to utilize when you're trying to consume those endpoints. So it will actually make your experience a lot more smoother, because you are just using this interface where you can create issues, and you can use the right method, and it will also assist you in writing code. So we will continue exploring this further. As I mentioned before, in the next video I'll try to also, along with the creation of the issue, I'll also link those issues together, and eventually we will have one setup using AutoBlocks where these two issues will be of course integrated, but we will also try to sync the information. Maybe you want to add a comment in one Jira instance on that issue, and you may want to pass the same comment somewhere else. Or maybe if you're working on Jira service management projects, maybe you want to pass those public comments or comments that you want to transfer to your other linked Jira project or any other issue. And by the way, we are doing all these things from Jira to Jira, but the good thing about AutoBlocks is that it can also talk to other tools. So hopefully in near future we will also bring in other tools where we will try to explore AutoBlocks further. So that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.